What is up, guys? Welcome to Slap STL Sims, and today we're going to be taking a bit of a break, a bit of a sidestep from F123, which I've been playing a lot lately, especially the My Team Career mode, and we're going to be playing some iRacing instead. And I've kind of missed iRacing. I race in the Ferrari GT3 series. It's a fixed series, which I like because I don't have to mess with setups or fuel. It's just me in the car. I go out there and I race against other people and see where I stack up. And if you've played iRacing before, you know how difficult it is to keep your safety rating high and how difficult it is to not take any penalties. So it's all about rejoining safely if you go off. Like right here, I go off the track, I see this car behind, I don't just dip directly back onto the track right into his way. But the purpose of this video in particular, at least from my point of view, is to show what it should be like when you race cleanly and respectfully on this game. As you can see, I took too much curve on the inside of that corner during practice, completely spin around. But the guy that I was racing, in particular in this race, was extremely respectful. We gave each other space. We didn't re-enter the track in front of other people, which, spoiler alert, we didn't have to. But when I was on his inside, he gave me room. When he was on my inside, I gave him room. And at the end of the day, we both made it to the finish line unscathed and had a much better finishing position than where we started. Little spoiler there. And here's me in practice. So, for context, this is a track I've never raced on before. Damn. Just ain't it, Chief. I know the car pretty well, but a lot of these corners require a lot of braking and trail braking really far into the corner to get the most out of the lap time. And when you do that, it's really easy to lift off a little early or get on the power a little early and completely shift the weight of the car to a corner that it's not supposed to be on, and you just spin around, which you will see from a lot of other cars today, including me, at least in qualifying. Spoiler again, this is my outlap in qualifying. I'm trying to warm up the tires and get on the power a little early on the exit of this corner. Luckily I didn't hit any walls or anything, so I'm able to continue, but that was a little bit of a, pick up my pride and dignity and try to move on. So into my first flying lap, and this first lap is going to be super timid because after that spin on my outlap, I'm like, let's just get in a time just to have something so I'm not starting in dead last. And a lot of these corners, I'm like 5-10 miles an hour slower on my apex speed than I could be, especially through this left-hander right here. You can take this left-hander completely flat if you hit it perfect, and you might have heard I lifted a lot through that corner. Here I'm downshifting to third, which later on I realized that staying in fourth is probably better because you can get on the power earlier without spinning here. But I do get all the way out over the curb, braking late into this hairpin at the end of this straight. Kind of missed the apex, I'm a little wide, but I'm up on my overall time on this track, which isn't saying a lot because, like I said, I've never played it before, so I don't have any good lap times around here. So this is still not a great lap time, but it's better than what I've done. And a little snap through this left-hander. I caught it, luckily, but if you've played iRacing, you know, when the car starts to snap like that, it just wants to go spinning off, and once you're doing that, there is no saving it. On other racing games, sometimes some opposite lock, you can save the car, but on this game, it's usually too little too late. Just another reason why so many people crash in these races. Through this little chicane here, I pick up so much time, almost 0.5 of a second, getting more aggressive in the corners, and then around this long sweeping right-hander. If you take too much curb on the inside, right there, it's easy to spin, which I did earlier. And then into the final corner, this tight hairpin onto the front straight. I learned later that going wide and turning in late on this corner is important to carry more speed down this front straight. And across the line, I've gained almost a second on my lap time, but it's only good for a, a 149 something, 149.634, which you'll see in a second. Some of the guys in this race in particular are doing much better times. But on the second lap, qualifying is 8 minutes, 2 laps, I believe. On the second lap, I'm carrying a lot more confidence. The tires are warmer, so I'm really pushing it now, and I'm already almost 0.4 of a second up, flat through this corner, and I did not hit it perfectly. Take way too much curve, and there you have it. Spun around, as it is so easy to do on this game, especially when you're pushing really hard. But luckily, I just went back to the pits, and I did have enough time to try to get another flyer in. But on that same corner that I almost snapped around on my first lap, I did snap around on this lap, and there's my frustration trying to get out of the sand. And then I thought I had enough time to try to go again, but unfortunately qualifying ended, and I only had that one lap at the beginning put in, and there you go. I am in last. But nevertheless, I'm going to show you why it does not matter at all if you are starting in last place on this game, because I qualified 14th, I think. The guy to my right in that green car, who I told you was going to be important, because he is going to be important. Keep an eye on him later in the race. But he's next to me, which means there are 12 cars between me and the front of the field, which is a hell of a lot of potential for crashing going on in front of me in this race. And it's exactly what's going to happen, because it's iRacing, and that's not even really a spoiler, because even you know, if you've played this game, that's obviously going to happen. I mean, so many people are going to crash. That's just how this game goes, because the handling model is amazing, the racing is amazing, but when your car starts to go around, you're not going to save it. And you just kind of have to accept that to be good at this game, and maybe take a little speed off your car if you think you're going to be pushing too hard and it's going to come around. But anyway, fast forward to this formation lap, we're going to go back to real time. I got a green car on my right, orange car in front of me, red and white car behind, and the green lights are going to come on, and we're going to get going on our first lap in this race. I lose a little bit of space between the green car especially. He got a really good start, but this red and white car tries to go around my outside here, and there's already an incident. Turn 1, 2 cars have gone around. The orange car kind of squeezes me right here, tries to push me off the track, and then this red car on my left side just completely turns in on me, runs into the side of my car. Luckily, not hard enough to make me go spinning off, but again, this is iRacing, so kind of a typical lap 1, honestly. Could have gone a lot worse, usually does go a lot worse. And then this blue car, I hate this guy, rejoins the track. Not only that, opens up his steering and tries to push me off so I don't go past him, which also allows this black car behind me to come steaming through the inside, and I lose 2 places. Well, 1 place, I guess, to the black car, because the blue car was already ahead. But why rejoin the track and then try to push somebody off that's going racing speeds? It doesn't make any sense to me. This is the type of etiquette that you're usually met with on this game, and the reason why sometimes I have to take breaks, because it just is so frustrating. And then fast forward a little bit, this yellow car behind me goes spinning and collects a red car with him. The red car was just kind of an unfortunate bystander there. The yellow car really couldn't have really done anything. I think he did try to save it and come back on the track, so maybe he could have just turned left and accepted his fate. But looking back at the replay behind me, it was so much worse than I thought, because there was a whole group of cars coming through right after him. Taking this car's point of view, a few cars back, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He hits the red car, 6 right there, 7. The orange car goes flying around the outside. And then taking his point of view, this yellow car again, he didn't wait for all these cars to pass. Instead, he tries to just continue on while there's still cars coming by. And him moving back onto the racing line is the only reason why that orange car got hit and went off. So he completely ruined his race and so many other people's races by just trying to rejoin the track before it was safe. And fast forwarding here, at this point, I'm kind of completely on my own. The group in front of me, there's a group of 4 or 5 cars in front of me. Luckily, they're slowing each other down, I think, by racing, but all the cars behind just crashed, so I have no one around me at all. And a couple laps later, I do actually catch up to this group, and this red car straggling behind is keeping up with them, but he's very obviously the slowest, so I'm going to catch him first. But that green car, this is the guy that started next to me on the grid, and he had an incredible start, but I think he's been kind of held up by these 2 black cars, and through this final turn, one of them goes spinning off, so there's another place I get, just like that easy. And down this front straight, I'm going to go around this right-hander here, and I probably should have slowed down a bit more for this. The black car spins, the red car tries to avoid, he goes spinning off, and I just thread the needle directly in between them. I did slow down a bit. I didn't go full racing speed through here. I was coasting, but I was inches away from clipping this red car and ruining my race as we slow it down here. It's marginal. But this green car also gets through it completely unscathed, and now it's time to hunt him down. I would say this is my equal in this race. We'll see later. We're doing similar lap times, but This is the one car that I'm like, okay, if I want to actually race somebody in this race and not just keep avoiding crashes and that's basically all I do, this is going to have to be the guy. So I put my head down. I'm trying to put in good lap times. I'm getting more and more used to this track, and each lap I'm getting faster and faster. And I think the pressure of me being behind him either slowed him down or he was just being inconsistent. And then we see another yellow flag ahead. We both slow down a bit just to make sure, and luckily I did, because that car comes back onto the track, not onto the racing line, so not egregious, but still not the best. And then fast forward one more lap later, and this is the first big mistake that this green car makes. He goes super wide through this second corner, and I'm able to get right on his bumper through this flat left-hander, and I do actually take it flat this time, up a gear in 5th instead of 4th, which does help, but he gives me room on his inside here. I take the space, and he doesn't turn in on me, which is good. That's what it's supposed to be like. I mean, this is what clean racing is supposed to be. I keep control of my car and don't go pushing him off the outside of the track, and he gives me room because he sees that I'm faster and I'm coming past. But that does mean that he gets a better exit out of the corner and is coming back at me with the slipstream down this very long back straight. And I see that he's going for a move on the inside here, so I take this corner very wide, return the favor, give him space. He doesn't end up going for it, but if he did, we wouldn't have crashed because we were both being respectful. He gave me space on the corner before, so I'm returning the favor and giving him space on the next one. And if you're new to sim racing and you're wondering what's some of the most important things to take from people who've played sim racing games for a while, it's this exactly. It's if you're respectful and you give people space and you can avoid crashing yourself out, which so many newbies, including myself, do all the time. I used to just send it way too hard into corners, turn in on people, and I would either take myself out or take both of us out and ruin both of our races, and I would get so frustrated. But, I mean, if you keep it clean, you'll be surprised how lucky you can get and how being respectful can make your race so much better. And down this front straight, this guy does go for a bit of a dive bomb, but I saw it coming, slowed down, and got a cheeky little cutback, and kept the place, but he sent it from way back, broke way too late, went deep into the corner. I carried more speed through here, got the cutback, and kept the place, which he was a little bit far back for that move. I think that was kind of out of desperation, but he also could have turned in on me after come flying past me and trying to keep the spot and block me off from taking that spot. But again, he didn't. He realized his mistake. He went deep. I got a cutback. Again, being respectful, not ruining both of our races, and we're both able to continue. Keep in mind, we started in 14th and 13th in this race. At this point, I have moved up to 4th, and he is now in 5th. So we have gained, or at least I have gained, 10 grid positions, and he has gained 8, just because we haven't crashed and ruined other people's races or had other people ruin our races. So even though we didn't have the all-out pace through this race, and a lot of other people were much faster, we were the two that kept it the cleanest, at least from further back in the pack. The guys in the front were obviously either veterans of this game or just very fast sim racers, but either way, they also know that keeping it clean is important. And across the finish line, and again, I take 4th place. I was one of the slower cars in qualifying, and in the race, my race pace was better than my qualifying pace, but again, for one of the slower cars, just keeping it clean has brought me 10 places up the grid. 4th place is a huge result for me in this series, as I'm also pretty new to sim racing, and I'm not the greatest ever. And there's my revs of approval I give to that guy, saying thank you for not taking us both out of that race. And there you go. That's 4th place. And what is this guy's name? Greg Nerum? Thank you so much, dude, for not being terrible and running into me at any of those opportunities. But when you have a good race with somebody, it also never hurts to get in chat and say, you know what, good job, thank you. Because with as many incidents as there are in this game, it really pays to shout out the people who make this game just that much better And as you can see, that bumped me up 0.14 safety rating, which is a lot, and 65 iRating change. Plus 65, I should say, not minus. And as you can see there, my average lap time was a 149.7, so about what my qualifying time was, but my best lap was in the 147s. So at one point I was getting really comfortable in that race, and the guy in first, his best lap was a 141. No clue in the world how you even get that lap time out of a car. But this Greg guy, his average lap time was only a 1/10 of a second or so off mine, and his fastest lap was actually slightly faster than mine, but because he couldn't keep up that consistency, I was able to catch up and able to pass him. But that was such a fun race. I'll be playing more iRacing in the future, but until then, I hope you have a good rest of your day. I hope you have a good 4th of July, and I will see you in the next one.